trying to not have to pause this, but I'm dealing with preteen that makes you just want to sell them to the circus. So at any rate, as promised, we're not going to talk about these yet. These are those Chinesium copies. This one's a copy. There is one here that's an actual counterfeit. These were done in Chinese D2, in case any of you guys are asking. This D2 on this seems pretty legit. At any rate, that's not what we're going to talk about. Promised you guys the Ferrum Forge Pro Line Fortis 2.0. I told you guys a while ago there was something coming that I just couldn't talk about. I carried this knife. I had this knife in my pocket when I did a video one time. I said, I can't show you what's in my pocket. It's because this was what was in my pocket. Couldn't show you until Chris and Elliot at least released it. So now, what this is, it is an update to one of my favorite knives, the original Fortis. So, not too horrible amount of differences between these knives, I'm here to tell you. The quality that these are done in. Now, this is a prototype that they've had in a while. This is the same one Elliot had in his video. There's several little prototypes. However, just as he said, this one does not have a pocket clip right now, because the original pocket clip just was not what they wanted. So the pocket clip's been redesigned, and these things are nice. But I mean, you can see that there's some definite differences. Now, I was going to tell you that there was a weight difference because it felt like there was on this one versus the original. You're looking at like a 1/4 of an ounce difference. It just feels different. It's heavy in different areas, and I think a lot of it has to do with it feels different because the blade is a little bit. Let's see, am I getting them lined up? The blade's a little bit different. It's a little bit thinner. It's got an aperture. You can finger flip this. Which was an addition to some of their knives that started, I believe, the first knife I remember was the Archbishop that came with the aperture that I can remember. Oop, missed it. So basically what it was is they wanted to come up with a way. They recognized, and they said it in their video, they recognized the fact that their knives are expensive. And they know that there's people that like these knives and like these designs that want them and just can't afford them. I can't afford one right now. I can't even afford one of these right now. But what it is they like I said when I lowered the price of my stuff, every businessman, every company, every person that provides a product should be looking for a way to provide the same amount of, the same quality at a lower price point. Well, that's what they did. And so what happened was they talked to their friends at We Knives and said, hey, we want to do this Pro line. And so it's a Ferrum Forge design produced by We in China. And they are not something to laugh at and scoff at and go, oh, it's just a Chinese knife and they're selling out. No, they're not selling out. They're still going to produce their in-house knives. What they're doing is, and people are like, I can't believe they're selling out and going to China to get stuff made. Okay, great. Fine, don't buy one. But the fact is, now you can get a knife that is almost the same level. I mean, it's the same level of end user quality. These knives were built to last a lifetime, just like their knives are. They're just able to do it at a lower price point, provide more options for things that they aren't having to try and do here where it's more expensive. So, you know, it's not a selling out matter. It's a matter of wanting to do the best for their customers possible. So what I'm gonna do is I'll get this turned around. We may even take her apart, see what she's got going on the inside, just so you guys can see. Because I'm not taking my Fortis apart because I don't like taking my knives apart unless I have to. This one is a little bit easier. This one's a little bit more difficult. So that being said, you are looking at an S35VN knife or blade in the same profile as the original Fortis, with a little bit different. The changes that are on this have been made to pocket clip, or not pocket clip, but flipper tab and handle shape. I'm not gonna lie, the handle on this was a grail knife for me. Love this knife. this handle's a little bit more comfortable. And it was just things that Elliot wanted to add to this knife that he couldn't do when they were doing them here and in-house. So I'm gonna get you guys paused. I'll get this thing turned around. I'll get it at a better angle, and we will take a look at the Ferrum Forge Fortis 2.0 first knife in the Pro line series. So guys, here we go. Now, this knife has got pretty much the majority of the same features as this knife. So we are looking at basically a revisiting of this to this. So you can see handle's a little narrower. It does fit in the hand a little more nicely. I have big hands. I really don't have a problem with this, but this is a good bit smaller. Across the width, so you can see it here. So with these lined up back to back, you can see there's a good bit. There we go. There's a lot of material here that isn't here. So blade shape identical. The only difference on the blades really is the blade thickness. Same width, or I mean same length, same profile, but it is thinner, which means that it is going to cut. It's so much thinner behind the edge than this one is. Don't get me wrong, love this knife, but it's one of the things that I wish it was a little thinner behind the edge. The addition of the aperture here so that you can finger flip a knife like that, and then the flipper tab itself. This flipper tab is much more comfortable. I like this flipper tab, but this flipper tab, it gets caught on things. It is a little bit obtrusive. This is a little more swept back. It's not just everything about it. This one you can get on it and just, wow, it just slams open. This one has great action, but you can, from time to time, get a soft start on this. Well, I mean, it's hard to get it not to flip open. It's just that smooth. There's a little change here to let you get your finger on it and load up on that flipper tab. So you're looking at a bearing run. It runs on bearings. It's 35VN. It's got a steel lock bar insert and ceramic detent. So back spacers, I mean, you can see they're so similar that it's just, like I said, it's what Elliot wanted to do with this, but just really couldn't at the time. Chamfered really well. It's like this handle has just been trimmed down a little bit. So, I mean, basically that's it, guys. But these are going to go for about half the price of what you'd be looking at if you were looking at buying this. So, yeah, there you go, guys. Fortis 2.0. It's coming around in August. So keep your eyes open. These will not be done on mass drop. These knives will be, as like Chris and Elliot said, these knives will be at Knife Center and Blade HQ to start. There's going to be color options, things like that. In the future, there's probably going to be inlay options and things like that that you can't get. And you can actually still send these to Chris and Elliot for anodizing and refinishing and changing things. And the nice thing about it is, if you look, there's your mark for Ferrum Forge Design. And everybody that complained and complained and complained about the mass drop logo, look at that. Nothing. Clean. I like this, but, you know, there you go. All right, guys, let me get this turned back around and give you a little goodbye and ending thoughts. Yeah, guys, there we go. So that is the Fortis 2.0. I need to get this back up to Elliot so I can get back to him. I have a Fortis. I carried this when I didn't have a Fortis, and I was like, man, I really liked it then. I've carried this prototype, one of the prototypes for this, on and off for probably the last 6-8 months, maybe a little bit longer, since the first time they got one. They got like 4 of the prototypes. I carried one for about a month, and then I carried it again for a while. That's the nice thing. I get to carry things. So from a carry perspective, having carried one of these, it's awesome. It's every bit as good carry-wise as this. But it's not going to break the bank. And that's great that there's options that are coming available. Now, like I said, some people are going to go, oh, it's made in China. And I'm like, great. You know what? The whole world is made in China. And as a matter of fact, I had somebody, I got, argument with somebody about the Made in American label. And the thing is, there are caveats to being made in America. Just because you buy a product that's marked Made in America doesn't mean it's made in America. There's a little bit to that. So you can get parts and everything, all the components for an item assembled, not assembled. You can get them put together. And I'm sorry, not even that. You can get them manufactured. You can get all your components manufactured somewhere else. 100% of them can be manufactured somewhere else. As long as when you put that knife together, you're adding 51% of the cost of that knife in the process that happens in the States, well, my God, then that's made in America. And that's the rule. That's not something I'm making up. That is the rule. And that's how it works. And people are like, oh, well, these people are lying because it's not made in America. They got stuff, they got parts of that, a good chunk of that was made overseas. Yeah, it was. They're not breaking a law. They're not lying. It was made in America. If that assembly of all those components adds 51% to the value of that, the end value of that product, then it's made in America. 50 and below, 50-50, you can't call it made in America. So if the cost of having the products produced, the components produced overseas, cost less than 49%, is 49% or lower of the overall cost of that, and the rest of it is done here, well, then that's made in America. So don't get on somebody, don't get on people that are getting things machined, like the OEM and things like that, and then they're making it here. I mean, yeah, there was issues with some companies. Quartermaster Knives, I guess, was doing it and things like that. Transparency is the best option. That is beside the point. That is not what you should be focusing on. What you should be focusing on is they went with a reputable company that provided them with a very good end product at a price point that allows you to have a quality product for half the price of this. These still go regularly $450, $500 on a regular. And this is a 2015 knife. So I am making a video. What's up? Sorry about that, guys. I specifically said that they knew I was shooting a video. I'm pretty upset because they've been fighting over this crap earlier. So anyway, like I said, my final thoughts on it, it's a downright awesome knife at a price point that makes sense for a lot of people. So that being said, you've got more knives coming. The Archbishop, which is my favorite Ferrum forged, well, I shouldn't say my favorite. It's one of my favorite Ferrum forged knives that they ever made. Right up there with this one. This was a grail because it's freaking awesome. There's something different about the Archbishop that appeals to me, but the Archbishop and Archbishop Reload 2.0, holy crap, I don't know what they could change on it that would make it better. I can't really think of anything that would be better. But, you know, it was pretty perfect to begin with. This had issues, but, you know, it's still an awesome knife. And Archbishop reboot, and the fact that they're probably going to be able to do inlays and things like that, you know, LA can't do that. The cost of machining and things like that get expensive when you start doing things like that. So, that being said, there's going to be other videos today. I'm pretty sure I've got other stuff on the bench I need to do. I am still in the process of sharpening knives. If you guys have got knives with me, they are getting done. It's just I've been busy all weekend. Weekends are knife making, usually knife making, anodizing, refinishing, things like that. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday if I need to, or spent sharpening knives. If I don't have that many knives, I go up and I make some knives. So, all right, guys, stay tuned. Later today, there's probably going to be another video. I'm going to do a live feed before that and talk about a couple things. I'm probably going to discuss these Chinese D2 copies. What do you say? These are pretty much the same as the Shirogorov Hati. There's just some differences. We'll talk about that. I might do that in a live feed. But all right, guys, take it easy. I gotta get out of here and go take care of something for my daughter.